everyone, welcome back to the Caprine Cottage Knitting Podcast. My name is Anne, and today I'm joining you from my kitchen in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Hi everyone, welcome back. So this video has been a trial. So yesterday I filmed the whole thing and then somehow realized that my camera had been in manual focus instead of autofocus, and I'm not totally sure how that happened. I don't even ever touch that button, so yeah, that wasn't great. But I'm here now, I'm trying again, and hopefully I remember everything that I said yesterday. Yeah, but bear with me if I seem a little off because it just threw me. I went to edit last night and then realized I couldn't do it. So yeah, anyway, here we are. Today's episode is going to be a regular podcast episode. I have a couple little finished objects and then two larger kind of in progress projects. One of them is just in the very beginning stages, and then a little bit of planning to talk about, a small kind of exciting announcement, and one, I would say, is physically bigger acquisition. And then I will do the acquisition and my book and music recommendation at the end. So if you're not interested in those things, at least they're at the end, you can skip them. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I think we'll just get right into things. So the first finished object I have, which you guys have pretty much already seen, is the Lobster socks. They are done. This pattern is called Chaussettes Somard by Lysandre Jordan. And yeah, that will be linked down below. I just wanted to remind everybody that everything I talk about is linked in the description, and I actually spend a really large amount of time working on that. It actually takes me longer to put together the links than it does to film my videos. So just remember that that's down there. Please check it out. If I miss something, I'm sorry. I do my best. I know that I make mistakes and forget to say things, but if you're ever looking for clarification, all the information is down there. But I finished these socks, and I showed you guys last time. Here, I'm going to put it up closer. Last time I had finished one, which was this one, and I told you that they would be different, and they are. I don't know if you can tell. And I'm okay with it. I feel like anytime I use self-striping yarn, I'm not good at getting the the stripes to line up properly. Sorry, I'm a little warm. But I feel like it's okay. They're sisters, not twins kind of deal. But they're done. There's two of them now. And so to talk about this pattern a little bit, I felt like I liked this pattern. It was fine. The chart was great. But I would say that if you've never knit a pair of socks before, maybe this wouldn't be the best one to start on. I'm kind of a mess today. But just because the actual sock construction instructions, that's a mouthful, were kind of maybe not totally clear. I ended up just following the normal method I use to make socks. I've made many socks, and so I just sort of kind of know what to do. I always make a 64 stitch sock. I just know what I have to do. But if you haven't done it before, I felt that the instructions were a little confusing. So just bear that in mind. Otherwise, I felt like it was a great pattern. I love that the chart has dimension. I don't know if you're able to see that, but on the lobster's backs, where their scales, I don't know much about lobsters. I guess scales, right? Sections, exoskeleton is pearl bumps. So it has a texture to it, which I think is super cool. And then one other thing, which is 100% my fault, has nothing to do with the yarn or the pattern or anything, is that, I don't know if you can tell from the video, but you can tell in person, I put these in water to wet finish, and I normally set a timer for 10-15 minutes because I usually forget. And I forgot to set a timer, and then they sat in the water for hours. I don't even know how long it was before I realized that I had forgotten them. And so because they were in there for so long, the red yarn bled onto the white yarn. And the perfectionist in me hates it so much, but I'm just like trying to live with it because I feel like it's not that noticeable. And then also I'm hoping that over time, maybe some of that will wash out. But yeah, that was 100% my fault. No one could have saved me from myself or prevented that from happening. And I even knew, like, using a really vibrant color next to white, that I should be careful. Yeah, and then I left them in the water. It was like easily over 3 hours. Like, I don't know how long they were in there. Yeah, so that wasn't great. Oh yeah, but anyway, the yarn used is, the white is from Coats and Co. It's their sock yarn. The red is from Little Lionhead Knits, and the blue yarn is a German sock yarn. Also, another sort of note, if you want to know more details about my projects, because I'm not great at like remembering color names or things like that, go to my Ravelry, because I'm very careful and meticulous about making sure everything is documented there, as much for myself as for anybody else. So if you are like, I love that yarn color, I want to try it, please check Ravelry. And then if you can't find it, or if I've made a mistake, just send me a message. You can message me on Instagram, or you can comment, of course. But yeah, so that's FO number 1. The next item I have was a test knit, the first test knit I've ever done. And it was for a friend of mine that I've made on here, and her handle and everything is Wild Dog Mountain. Her name is Cheyenne. And so she designed, this is a little bandana pattern. Hold it close so you can see. And so it has like these little eyelets and then an I-cord tie. And so, yeah, this was my first ever test knit. I've never test knit anything before. And this pattern is now available. I will definitely make sure this is linked so that you can find it. I felt that it was a really sweet pattern. It like, I have my hair up, so it's gonna look silly, but I can sort of show you like how it goes. But you just like do this, and then you can tie the strings like under your hair. But yeah, it looks silly because my hair is like not in a conducive way to model it. But there's pictures on Ravelry of it worn, so you can kind of see a little bit better. But yeah, it's available for purchase now. I'll make sure that it's linked, and I'll put the name of the pattern right here as well. I knit this in Novita / Moomin collection yarn, and I want to say this pattern or this color is called like, it's like Tropical Island or Island in the Ocean. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I'm also not totally sure if that Novita collection is available in the United States anymore. I bought this a few years ago, and it's wool and like some kind of synthetic combo. I think it's technically designed to make, it's a DK weight, to make DK weight socks. But I just thought it would be cute for this. And so my other half, Caleb, he has decided that he wants this. He loves lime green. That's like his favorite color. It's not my favorite choice, but he loves it. And so he saw this and he was like, I want that. Like, he has long hair. So he was like, maybe it will help me like keep my hair out of my face when I'm working. So I thought that was really sweet. And so after this video, he gets to have this and it can be his. But yeah, I feel like this pattern was great. It's like she's designed it as a beginner pattern. I think it would be great for beginners. I think there's a lot of simple techniques, like basic techniques that you will learn through making this. So it's a garter stitch design. And then in the center here, I'll hold it close so you can see, it has an eyelet kind of detail that's made by using yarn overs. And that also does the increased shaping. And then on the edge here, essentially you make buttonholes. It's a 1-row buttonhole technique, which I had never done, but it was not terribly hard. And then there's ribbing on the edge. So I feel like you go through a lot of different techniques and then you end up with a cute little thing. So it's a great way to kind of expand if you've only done like knitting and purling or something like that. Sorry, my cat, you can't see her, but she's right there playing with something. Okay, anyway, moving on. That was the next pattern. I'm not sure what this is called. I want to say it's called like Easy Garter Stitch Bandana, but like I said, I'll put it up for you guys. Whew, I'm gonna have a little drink of water. Oops. So, the next thing I have to show that I've been working on forever, so I'm really excited about this, is this guy here. Let's see. I'll put this. But this is my Lower Low sweater by Mary Jane Mucklestone, and I have been working on this since last October. And not that it should take that long by any means. There was some breaks taken in between there. I have a cat who really wants to come say hi. Do you want to be a star? Everybody loved you last time. Here she is. Hi. So she's sort of nameless, which I'm embarrassed to say, but the vet named her Kitty, which I think they name all cats that are nameless, and then so now we just call her Kitty Bean. But I would love for her someday to have a real name. She just hasn't like told me yet. I can't find one that like vibes for her. But she's about 2 years old. So yeah, here she is. I feel like she would just sit here all day long. Okay, do you want to come sit here? I could put you here on the table. Maybe she'll hang out with us, maybe not. But anyway, sorry. So distracted. It's just been one of those weeks. I have had a rough week. Her brother is sick. I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, it's just been a lot. It just is, it's starting to feel like that, like, deep peak summer exhaustion where we're all just so tired. We're so sick of it being hot and humid. There's so many vegetables. Yeah, it's just been intense. So if I'm a little distracted, that's why. Doing my best to stay focused. But anyway, back to my sweater. This is my Lower Low sweater, and look, I have finally made progress on it. I don't remember at all what I was saying. I think I was saying that it has taken me a really long time to make this, but that I don't feel like it should have taken that long. I had, many of you probably know about Phoenix and her trials after the fire and her being burned. So this winter was completely consumed by her, recovery and care. So I did very, very little knitting between the months of probably, well, from January 1st until at least middle of March. I did almost no knitting. So that's part of why this has taken me so long. It was on hold for a very long time, and then I kind of got distracted by some smaller projects. But anyway, it now looks like a sweater. So, oops, I finished this sleeve. And here, I'm going to hold it so you can maybe see the details a little bit. Neckline. Yeah, so it looks huge on the screen, but I promise when I put it on, I mean, it is a boxy fit. It's supposed to be loose, but it's not. It looks totally normal. But yeah, so it is like, I feel like I call this a dolman sleeve, but I think that's wrong. I think it's just a drop shoulder is what it's called. But so you knit the front and the back hemlines. It has a split hem. And then you knit the body and the round up until the point, like you do this underarm shaping. And then you split the back and the front, and then you knit the back, and then you knit each front side of the V. And then you come up to the shoulders, do a 3-needle bind off, pick up for the sleeves, knit the sleeves. So it's a pretty, I think, simple construction. I didn't have any trouble with it. I will say that the knitting back and forth of the back, so from the underarm to the neckline, took forever. It's a lot of stitches. It's fingering weight. And you're going, you're knitting stockinette back and forth. And I don't know, maybe I'm just really slow at that. But I felt like it took so long. But then once I got to the front, I did each front panel in no time. I felt like I did them, I probably did both in a week. And then the sleeve, also I had some trials and tribulations with the sleeve, but it was me issues, not the sleeve, the pattern having problems. It was me having problems. I don't even know what I did. I somehow did a double decrease and then didn't catch it for 50 rows or something. So that sucked. But anyway, I'm just so pleased that I'm done and that I can see it see the vision. So I have this second sleeve, and also I steam blocked this a little bit, so everything's laying really nice and flat. It was very curly before I did that, but I felt like for the video so you guys could see better. The one thing I was very concerned about doing, and it ended up actually being okay, was this back neck band. So like when you're knitting the fronts, you're knitting the neckband as you go. You're doing decreases, and then you're knitting your moss stitch or seat stitch band. But for the back, you do the 3-needle bind off at the shoulders, and then you knit this neckband separately, and then you stitch it into place. And so that was like very intimidating for me, and I sort of don't know why, because like I know how to sew. I'm not like toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm a pretty decent seamstress. I've been doing it for a very long time. I've been sewing as long or longer than I've been knitting, and I've been knitting for a long time. I feel confident in my knitting skills, but there's something about sewing my knitwear together that really intimidates me. I don't exactly know why. And I also had gone on Ravelry and like read some other people's like notes, and some people said that like it was very hard to get the neckband to be the right length. Like it looked too short, then they blocked it, it was too long. Things like that. So I was intimidated. But what I did was I counted the number of rows that I had in my neckband, and then I knit that number of rows so that I knew when I was stitching it that I would just be doing a 1-to-1. Because, you know, sometimes like if you're picking up stitches and it's not a direct 1-to-1 pickup, you have to kind of distribute and figure it out. But I figured if I just did 1-to-1, it would be really simple. And like, it's not perfect. There's definitely some errors here. I definitely think I did something a little wrong with the short rows in the like back but neck shaping, shoulder shaping, I guess you would call it. I feel like I made a couple mistakes, but I'm just gonna live with it. I feel like it's very minor. I have long hair, nobody's gonna see it except for me. But yeah, so I like highly recommend this pattern. I can like foresee myself making this again actually. Maybe in like a different colorway, like a darker colorway. This is very close to the sample. The main color she uses though is Jamison's of Shetland Spindrift in Pebble, and I used their Eset in white. So it's the natural color blended. And then the 3 colors, I have them listed. I want to say it's like Poppy Flax. I can't remember what the blue is, but it's in my Ravelry. You can see that if you're interested in the colors. I changed them slightly from her sample colors, but they're very, very similar. But yeah, so that is almost done. But anyway, I kind of hinted at this last week in the vlog that I had a little announcement and that it was connected to sweater making. And so I assume some of you, clever listeners, viewers, may have guessed what the announcement is and why I would be making sweaters. But my announcement is that I will be attending Rhinebeck this year. So I haven't gone, I think, since 2021. Last year was Scotland. I think it's been 3 years since I've gone. I'm very, very excited. I will be attending India Untangled on Friday and then New York Sheep and Wool on Saturday. I've never gone to like any of the other festivals. I've only gone to New York Sheep and Wool. So I was trying to decide which I wanted to go to. And last year, I remember, I don't even know if Wool and Folk is happening this year, but it was kind of a mess last year. So I decided that I would do India Untangled instead. I'm really, really looking forward to it because it's something new and something I haven't gone to before. But anyway, because of that, because I'm attending 2 events, I would like to have 2 sweaters to wear. And I mean, obviously I have the Crowberry, but I didn't plan it as a Rhinebeck sweater, so I want to have a Rhinebeck sweater project. So my plan is that I will finish the lower low and then moving on to the next project. So I'm going to put this here and then get out this bag. My next project that I'm going to cast on to hopefully wear one of the days, as long as I can finish it. Things are falling, sorry. Is I am casting on, hold on, wanted to show the picture. I'll put a picture up here, but also here. It's the Halibut sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And I remember the first time I saw this pattern, I saw it on Instagram Reels, and there was a person who made it, and it was like green with pink. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it has fish. I have to make this. A little background, maybe I've mentioned this before, but my dad is like a hobby fly fisherman. So I grew up fishing. I love fish. I'm also a Pisces, so like the fish thing is like very much my thing. Um, yeah, so I just saw this and I was like, I love this so much. I have to make it. But I also didn't expect to make it this year. I think I talked about it a little bit in my Central New York Fiber Festival video, so I'll put a card here if you haven't seen that video. I talk a little bit about how I ended up with the yarn and everything. But I bought some Kelborn Woolens Scout for a different project and then instantly was like, you know what, I don't want to make that project. So I'm nothing if not inconsistent. But so then I saw that the sample of the halibut was knit in Scout, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I have this Scout. I bought a couple extra skeins at my local yarn store, and yeah, so I'm really, really excited about that. I don't know which day I'm going to wear which sweater, but also I have knit a swatch for this. It's all the way at the bottom. But so I just did a plain swatch. I didn't do a colorwork swatch, which I'm sort of regretting, but I still can. I still can do it. But so here's my little swatch. I got gauge really easily. I'm super impressed by how soft the Scout is, and I was a little nervous about it because I generally don't use like very soft yarn, which sounds like a really weird thing to say, but I generally like go towards like a more rustic or more scratchy yarn. I just prefer that like wooliness that it has. But I was talking to the proprietor of my local yarn store, and he showed me a sample he had of a hat he made in Scout, and he had made it like many, many years ago, and he's like, I wear this every year and it doesn't pill. And so that made me feel really good because my experience with fine wools or softer wools has been that they pill really like badly, and I like am kind of rough on my stuff, not rough on my stuff, but like I wear it and you know I bump into things and I'm working and doing dishes and all this other stuff where it just sort of gets a little gross, or you know there's friction, I guess is what I'm saying. So that made me really happy that he said that it was like strong, like it didn't pill too much. So yeah, there's my little cutie, and then I'm going to show you guys the colors I have. So I have these 3 colors. These 2 are Scout. This is not Scout. But I want to use these 3 colors. So the body's going to be this yellow. I think this is, oh wait, I think I have the bands. Let me see. I want to say the yellow is Sunflower. Sunflower Heather is the yellow, number 709. And then this green, which I think it reads green, but sometimes I feel like it reads brown. I'm hoping there's enough contrast. This is Autumn Heather, 703. And then this red is from Battenkill Fibers. I want to say it's definitely DK weight. I think it's their Adirondack DK, I think is what they call their DK. But this was like, it was from a sample sale, so there's no color, but it's red. So yeah, my plan is to do the main color in the yellow, and then this is the like pattern contrast color. But I really want to incorporate the red somehow. I love red. I love pops of red. And so I'm trying to decide. I think I've decided that I'm definitely going to do a red double stripe at the collar and at the cuffs, and maybe at the hem. I haven't decided about the hem yet. But then also I'm trying to decide if I want to incorporate it into the color work section. And my only I think it would look really nice if I did that, but my hesitation or hold back is that it would require me to do 3 strand color work knitting. And I hate 3 strand so much. Yarn management is not so good at it, especially when there's 3, and making sure they're all, the floats are the proper tension. So we'll see. I would like to do I'm gonna have a picture here so you can see, but at the top there's diamonds, and then there's fish, and then there's diamonds. And I would love if the fish could be green and the diamonds could be red. But I think that does require me, let's see, it would be 3, 6, 7, and then yeah, it'd be almost 20 rows of 3-stranded color work, which I guess isn't horrible. I just sort of don't know if it will be fun for me. And also I have to, so the festival is the weekend of August. No, thank God. October 19th. So I have like exactly 2 months to make this. And I feel like if I do 3-strand color work, I might not be able to, like, it might take more time, I guess. So it's very rare that I know with the deadline, and I can like feel the pressure a little bit because I really want to get it done. I mean, it's self-imposed, 100%. But yeah, so that's, I think, everything I have to say about that. I'm very, very excited. I feel like these colors together like remind me of like vintage like camping or vintage like scouting, you know, like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, which I love. I like that kind of stuff. So it just feels very like woodsy, cabiny, and I'm really excited. Okay, so then, okay, what's on my list? Check the list. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. So this pattern, the halibut, and also the next thing I'm going to talk about, the patterns themselves were kindly gifted to me from a lovely viewer. Her name is also Anne. And so I just wanted to make sure to put in here a big thank you for that. I'm just like blown away by the support you all have given to me in this endeavor. I never, ever could have imagined that anybody wanted to hear me ramble on about my knitting. And the fact that you not only listen and consistently hear with me, but that some of you have reached out and wanted to like help me further my craft is like, it like brings tears to my eyes because I just feel really loved and supported, and I really, really appreciate that. But yeah, so thank you so much, Anne, for that pattern. And then also, the next thing I'm going to talk about, she also bought me the pattern for the Rad Radish socks, which I have been talking about for so long. And so I really want to cast them on, but also I'm trying to be responsible and work on these sweaters. So we'll see. If there is enough time, I might cast them on because I have the yarns here and I weighed, so I have these two as well. Oops. There we go. But I weighed these. These are leftover yarns from other sock projects. They're both from Little Lionhead Knits, and it's her like tweed sock base. But I weighed them the other day, and I have enough, or I should have enough. Fingers crossed. I'm not like much of a yarn chicken player, but with sock yarn I do. But they weighed out, and I should have enough. And then I have these two colors from Brown Sheep Company in Wildfoot. I showed these before in my local yarn store day video. I'll also put a card here for that if you missed that one. But yeah, so those are the colors. I'm really excited to cast it on, but yeah, I'm trying to be responsible and finish my big projects. I've been doing pretty good lately about having only 2 projects going. That was like sort of my rule for 2024 was to only have 2, and I was supposed to have a big one and a small one, and right now I have like 2 big ones. But I'm sort of like, well, if you finish lower low and get the halibut cast on, you could cast on a sock. I'm enabling myself, but I also love making socks. But yeah, so that's in the works. And then the other thing is this yarn here is like a crazy pink. Like I'm not necessarily, I mean, I like pink. That's not true. I like pink, but maybe not this pink. It's like bright fuchsia. But so there's this other cute little pattern, and I forget exactly what it's called, but it is, I don't know if anybody else is like into tabletop gaming or RPGs, but it's a pattern that's like inspired by Critical Role, which I love to watch. You've probably seen me watch that before. I love watching that or like listening to it when I'm knitting because it's like I can be transported to another world. But anyway, the pattern is for a cute little dice bag inspired by Caduceus Clay, which is a character in campaign 2. And in the campaign, like his character, his hair is bright pink. And so I would love to knit that pattern and maybe use this pink as like the color work part. But I'll put a picture here so you can kind of understand what I'm saying more. But yeah, it's a cute little dice bag, and I actually I'm like not part of a tabletop RPG anymore. Like I don't have a group of friends that I do that with anymore. I used to. So I wouldn't necessarily use it for dice, but I could maybe put like coins in there or just like little shiny treasures, like rocks that I find or something like that. But I just think it's super cute. So I would like to make that soon too. I think that's sort of, and I love how like I'm so curious at the end of the year for us to go through my what I want to make in 2024 video and like check off what I actually made, because we're so far in the weeds. But also I sort of knew that going into it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have a little bit more water. All of this talking. It's such a funny experience because normally when you're talking, you're like having a conversation with someone and they're talking back. And so you can have like a moment to like catch your breath. But when I'm filming these, you guys aren't there. You don't get to respond immediately. So it's a lot of talking. But anyway, I guess now I think that's everything for knitting. So now we're going to go on to acquisitions. There's only one acquisition. And then just my like monthly recommendations. So if you're just here for the knitting, thank you. I appreciate you so much. And if not, we're going to talk about acquisitions. So I filmed like a little bit of me going to retrieve the item. So I'm going to insert that here. And then we'll meet back in just a minute. Hi. So I'm just getting in my car to go pick up something fiber related. I'm probably not going to be able to film like at the place, but I will show you when I get home. I'm really excited. It's something I've wanted for a long time. Yeah, I'll tell you more later. Here she is. I'm going to bring it in the house and then I'll show you guys in more detail, but I also got some other stuff. So I got busy yesterday and I forgot to show you guys this all set up. But oh my god, I'm so excited. It is a great wheel. The man I bought it from is a family friend, and he had some background on it but not a ton, so I don't really know how old it is, but it's definitely very old. I have to try and figure out what's going on with the dry band because it feels a little bit short, so I hope that I've put this together right, but I have a contact locally that could help me with that. But then he also gave me this yarn winder. What is it called? I think they're called yarn weasels. Sometimes it's the kind that click. And so it's missing a spoke here. And then this is missing its end. And this has been repaired. But the missing spoke is here. So I feel like that could be repaired. And then, sorry, bad angle, but I actually have another one of these, and so I don't know, maybe I could somehow kind of put them together so that it can at least be a little bit preserved. And then he also gave me this set of hand cards. Yeah, they're definitely old and like pretty worn out, but you know, they're a little rusty, but I'm always happy to have more. And it's, you know, it's a different set. They're a uneven set, like they're different sizes, so just that was really special and exciting. Okay, you're back. So you saw what I went to pick up. Yes, it is an antique great wheel, walking wheel, spinning wheel, and it was sort of a funny way that it came to me. And so I sort of heard through the grapevine, as you do. I don't know, like, well, I will preface this whole story by saying that, though I've said this before, I think, but the one thing I just love about being involved in fiber arts is the way that it's so connective. And like, once you start like putting into the universe, like, oh, I am interested in learning to spin, or I'm a spinner, or I'm a weaver or knitter or whatever, people like come out of the woodwork and they either want to talk to you about it or participate with you. Or I've had this experience, and then a couple other times where someone who is later in their years has wanted to find someone to pass their items on to. And I can only like dream of when that day comes to me, and I hope that I get to live that long and enjoy this craft for that long, and then find a young person who is inspired to pass my things on to. But anyway, so I heard through the grapevine that mutual like sort of family friend neighbor was looking to pass on his walking wheel. And I saw him at the farmer's market a few weeks ago now, and I was like, hey, I heard you have the spinning wheel. Like, I'm very interested in buying it. Like, you know, are you actually selling it? And he was like, oh, yeah, yeah, like, you know, I just, like, I don't use it anymore, and it's very big, and I, you know, would love for it to go to someone who will care for it for the next generation. And I was like, yeah, I'm, like, super interested. And he was like, does this price sound good? And I was like, yeah, it sounds great. Like, um, and so we, you know, exchanged phone numbers and stuff. And he called me the other day and he was like, I'm here. Like, do you want to come meet me and pick it up? And I was like, yes. And so I went to see him, and it just was like, it was also just a beautiful experience, like to talk to someone about their life. And as a craftsperson, he like had a very, you know, normal career in life too, where he, you know, had a job and worked and all that. But he, you know, on the side did so many crafts, and it was just really, really nice to like talk to someone about that. Um, yeah, so you saw in the video, he also passed on a yarn winder. I think they're called yarn weasels. It's like the kind that clicks after a certain amount of revolutions, and then some hand cards. And so the yarn winder, I also have one that is missing pieces. So I'm hoping that either I know somebody that has a lathe and is a wood turner. So either he could turn me pieces, or like I could commission him to do that. Or maybe I can like put them together and then have one working one. But the spinning wheel, I talked to my friend about it, and he said that he's not totally sure how old it is, but he himself has had it for 50 years. So, yeah, it's definitely, you know, original, I would say turn of the century or a little bit earlier. And I think I said in the like, where I showed it to you, I'm a little bit worried about the length of the drive band. It seems a little bit short, and so I don't know if it has shrunken with age or if I'm doing something wrong. But I also know another woman who she's like very deeply involved in historical textiles and spinning and, you know, like antique fiber arts equipment. So I'm gonna maybe touch base with her about that and see if she could come check it out, and or just give me some advice about how long that drive band should be. But I'm really excited to start spinning on it. Definitely a project for the winter when I get into my new studio space. Yeah, I was going to say too, he also gave me a set of older hand cards, which they're just really nice to have. And I just thought it was so sweet to like have that experience. And he also used to make leather crafts. So I bought 6 skins, or they're more like half hides, but he has so much leather that he needs to pass on, and I can't obviously take all of it, but I took, there was 4 suede hides, and then one I think is a deer skin, and then a piece of red leather, which, what am I going to make from red leather? But I just couldn't resist it. It was so beautiful. And yeah, he was very gracious, and it was really sweet. So it was just a great experience, and so I hope you liked seeing that and hearing about that. So we're on to the last section, where each month I recommend a book and a musical album to you. And so the books, I like almost didn't even want to put this in because I'm not embarrassed, but I read reviews on Goodreads of these books, and they have very bad reviews. And so I'm like a little embarrassed that I like them, I guess. But it's also sort of a nostalgia thing for me. So I'm just going to show them to you here. Okay. So there are these books here. Well, there's more of them, but these are the 2 I have right here. And so it's the Ghatti's Tale series by Gayle. And I read these books when I was like between the ages of maybe 14 and 16. I might have even been a little bit younger. So it's been almost 20 years since I read them. And this one, the first one, I found we have a local book sale. Our library does a local book sale 2 times a year, and I always make sure to attend. And I was just perusing the like sci-fi fantasy section, and I saw this book, and it was so nostalgic to me. I was like, you know what, maybe I should read that again. Like, I wonder if I will like it as much as I did as a teenager, because I loved these books when I was a teen. And I was like inspired to buy it. Hold on, I'll put it closer again so you can see up close. But you see there's a kitty cat, and I feel like it's not focusing. Anyway, there's a cat on the cover, and I've like I love cats. I have since I was a child. And this cat specifically, the character in the book, her name is Carpern. But she, like, as she is described and also in the artist rendering on the cover, she looks exactly like my childhood into adulthood cat named Tunnels. And sadly, she's no longer with us. It like makes me emotional to think about her because she was my best friend for 13 years. So that's been like a fun experience of rereading these because it makes me think of her. Sorry. Oh, it never goes away. But anyway, yeah, so I picked it up at the local book sale and I was like, I'm going to read it and see if I like it. I read the first one and I'm really into it. So I'm almost done with the second one. And then there's one more and then there's like another like sister series. It's like, I think different characters. I actually don't really remember them that well. So there's 5 total. But yeah, as I'm reading it, I definitely am experiencing it in a very different way, like with a more adult brain and some things I like, some things I don't like. I do love being in a different world. I always will like that. And so, yeah, a little bit about the premise. So it is about, how do I describe this in a way that makes sense? Essentially, humans land in a spacecraft on a distant planet, and they live there for a while, and they're doing like scientific studies, and they have these devices they're using to get readings about the planet. And they're there for a while, and then suddenly these devices start. And no, this is no spoilers. Like, you will learn this right in the beginning of the book. But the devices start to explode, and so then some of this human population is forced to flee the planet, and some of them, I don't know if it's like by choice necessarily, but they're like left behind. And so they have to like continue to live on this other world and, have a society and a culture and everything. And so the stories like go about one of, the ancestors of those people that landed on the planet. Now I think it's raining. We're just experiencing everything today. But yeah, so it follows the main character, and she is a member of the Seekers Veritas, which is like, it's sort of like a traveling court or like the judiciary branch of the government. And they have these bonds with these cats, these large cat beings that are native to the planet called Ghatti. And they share a psychic bond, and the cats are able to decipher truth in someone's argument. So like, or like a disagreement. So like, say your neighbor took your cow, they can like, it's like that sort of thing. So it's very much like this fantasy sci-fi combination where you have like the sci-fi element of space travel, but also like the world and the culture where they are now as the ancestors is very much fantasy based. We have telepathic cat connections going on. And it is more like sort of a medieval fantasy kind of environment. Like they ride horses and have swords and that sort of thing. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. But I would say I don't think it's going to appeal to everyone. And I know that she's very wordy and the descriptions are very flowery, I guess I would say. So if you like that sort of like highly descriptive fantasy, you might like it. But I saw that also as a complaint in the reviews, is that just people felt that it was very slow and that it was too many words. And I kind of like love that. I like that like almost tedious kind of reading. And they are long. They're all, I think, over 500 pages. So yeah, I don't know. If that's your jam, you might like it. If it's not, I get it. It's not fast-paced in any way, shape, or form. I feel like it sort of drags on, but I also love the way that the author, she's like very good at like sort of sneaky foreshadowing and hints. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a mystery. The whole thing, you're unraveling this mystery throughout the books. Yeah, so I don't know. That's my book recommendation. I'm a little hesitant. Yeah, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But then my music recommendation, which was falling over when I was moving things around, is this album. This is Ivy Trip by Waxahatchee, or Katie Crutchfield. And this, I think, is her 3rd studio album. It came out, I looked yesterday when I filmed this, it came out in 2015, which is almost 10 years ago. But also, I feel like this album came out like 5 minutes ago, and so it makes me feel my age. But yeah, I've been listening to this a lot, and also her first album, which I think is called American Weekend. And she also just released, I want to say it's at least her 5th studio album. I might be missing one. But it's called Tiger's Blood. That just came out. And I haven't listened to the whole thing, but I've heard some singles off of it, and I loved it. But I've been really listening to this album and her first album a lot lately. And this one just, like, it came out, and I sort of discovered it at a time in my life when things were, I guess, like, very complicated is the best way to put it. And I just feel like her writing is relatable to me. And, you know, like, her first album is this, like, it's almost like punk in the way that it's, like, so stripped down, kind of rough vocals, and then to, like, sort of see this evolution where now her music is, feels very Americana influenced. And I feel like it kind of always was. Her music is very much about, like, in my opinion, like, the American experience. But it's sort of in a different way now. And through every evolution, I feel I just love her music. And, like, this album, the first song has, like, this very long musical intro, and it's just, like, I don't know, it's really beautiful. I feel like if you like, you know, female vocalists and sort of, like, more indie sounding music, or maybe a little bit rougher, I just find her writing really relatable and, you know, well done. And I think that she's, yeah, an amazing artist. And maybe you guys have heard the last album, not Tiger's Blood that just came out, but the one before that I'm not going to remember the title of, but it has that song called Lilacs, which I love that song. So yeah, I guess this whole recommendation is just go listen to Waxahatchee if you haven't yet. But I don't even know where to tell you to start. I would say, like, I almost want to say start here. Start at Ivy Trip because it's kind of in the middle, and then you can sort of see the way that the kind of music she's making now connects, and then the way that the past, like her you know, first recordings connect to it. But yeah, so I love this, and I love her, and I think she's great. I got to see her a couple years ago, actually at a music venue that no longer exists in our city, and so it's a bittersweet memory. Yes, I think we're done. I feel like I've been very chatty. I hope you like that. I feel like this video is going to be a bit long. But anyway, I think we'll part ways. I just want to thank you all again so much for joining me. Yet again, I feel like I say it every video, you're, like, blowing my mind, but there's more of you. So welcome to everybody. And if you've been here since the beginning, again, thank you for your continued support. I literally can't do this without you. And maybe someday, like, maybe there will be a number that I, like, get over it and, like, just I'm like, okay, this is reality now. But I'm still a little bit in disbelief. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. Like, click the little thumbs up. It really, really helps my videos to be seen and for YouTube to promote them. Also, if you enjoyed it and, like, you want to see more, please subscribe. I try to upload almost every Friday. I'm trying to do, like, 3 weeks on, 1 week off. And next week, I'm going away with a friend for part of the week. So next week is definitely going to be an off week of, like, there will be no video next week. I might do a short video if I have time, like a short form video. What else was I going to say? I forgot what I was saying. Sorry. I guess other than that, oh yeah, please leave me a comment. I always love to hear what you're knitting. So tell me about your patterns. I've found so many cool new patterns from you guys. And it's just, like, nice to have that sort of connection and community. And also, yeah, like, I would love to make a video every single week and not take weeks off, but I sort of don't have enough ideas to make that happen. But so if there's something that you are like, oh, I want to know about this, or you think that we would like to see me present, please let me know if you have any ideas. I'm pretty much up for almost anything. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much again for joining me. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope that we speak soon. Bye.